Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for Hunter x Hunter episode 115. And this one, I thought it was cool, but it could have been better. I think that they dragged on a couple parts a little bit too much. Specifically, the scene with Welfin and Meliorone. That took like 7, 8 minutes. I mean, was that really necessary? Was it really necessary? I mean, think about it. What really happened in that scene? Okay, Meliorone looked for Killua and Gon and ended up running into Welfin. He took a breath and hid, or he hid and took a breath. And Welfin snorted out, shot a couple missiles, and then he walked away. Does that really take 8 minutes? It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. I mean, really. But whatever. I mean, I still enjoyed the episode. It started off with Icalgo. He used Flutter's dragonflies to try and find Palm, and they spent like almost a minute talking, just building up how strong his resolve was and how he was going to find her, and he respected her, and all this stuff, and yeah, I didn't really care that much. I mean, Palm is awesome, and I'm glad they're having someone look for her, but I mean, it's not like I was watching this thinking, wow, this is just so awesome. Oh man, look at the cowgirl, look at those tentacles. It was just okay. It was just okay. And then after that, they explained to us how an elevator works. So to be fair, I actually thought this was interesting. Togashi's really creative. We all know that, and he came up with some interesting ways for this elevator to work for security purposes. It has a security camera and it has a scale in it. So when no one when some anybody can take the elevator down, and any number of people can take the elevator down, but once you get down and the scale senses that no one is in the elevator, it'll automatically go back up. And if Chimera Ants actually wanted to take it back up, only one Chimera Ant can go on there at a time to go up. And in order to make the elevator go up, you have to type in a passcode, and each Chimera Ant gets a different passcode, right? The two humans, Marco and Bzef, those two, right, whatever, right? They're the only ones who don't have to follow this procedure, all right? But each Chimera Ant has a different passcode, and if you get on that elevator and you type in a passcode that doesn't, if you type in a passcode that registers to someone who has a different height and weight than you, then you're screwed pretty much. The first time you do it, the elevator locks up and you're stuck inside, alright? Then if you mess up 2 more times, then you get put to sleep, you get captured, you get tortured, and they end up killing the person whose code you stole. Which isn't really relevant right now because if Icalgo were to use Flutter's code, then I mean, Flutter's already dead, so you know. But if he were to use his own code, then he'd be screwed. Like, for instance, if he didn't know that everybody has a different code and he used his own, then he'd be screwed. Um, then they would think that Flutter was a traitor, that they would go looking for Icalgo to try and kill him, not realizing that Icalgo and Flutter are like one and the same right now. Either way, Icalgo's screwed. We see Bravada. He ends up going down there to look for Flutter. Which you might need to try a little hard because he got inside that truck. But yeah, Wolfman, he was gonna go down there too and help Bravada look, but he ended up he ended up getting suspicious of him. All right, we learned later on. Well, we didn't really need to hear this from Meliorone. We could tell, but we hear from him that Welfin is like the most. He gets suspicious the easiest among all the squadron leaders. This guy is just he's always questioning things. He's suspicious of everything. He's even suspicious of his own freaking power. All right, like this guy gets suspicious of everything, and he even got suspicious of Bravada here. All right, he thought like, oh wait, what if I go down there and Bravada's one of the traitors, and he starts shooting me when the door opens. He's like Omoe from Naruto. Right? He's just always worrying. He's got all well, not really, but he's just really suspicious of stuff. And during this scene, another thing that Wolfen does, along with thinking about whether or not Bravada is a traitor, he ends up smelling Flutter's decaying body. Okay, and he also smells something else that's faint, but he can't really tell what it is, which is Icalgo. Um, but I was impressed that he didn't put two and two together, or not impressed, surprised that he didn't put two and two together. You know, Flutter, decaying body. Why would Flutter smell like a decaying body? Maybe Flutter is a decaying body, but why would he be a decaying body? Maybe he's a corpse and someone's controlling him. You know, like that's like that would be a stretch for most people, but for someone like Welfin, not even. You just a character in Hunter x Hunter in general. You know, for Hunter x Hunter characters, you think like they would think of that, but hey, he didn't. So whatever. But he didn't think of that, and the person he ended up thinking of was Bezef. He remembered Bezef, and he started thinking, what if Bezef was taken out by that dragon dive? Right? If Bezef's dead, I can't make him be indebted to me. All my plans are ruined if Bezef is dead. So he ends up going to look for Bezef, and he ends up running into Meliorone in that scene I was talking about. Meliorone, the reason he was there was he was looking for Killua and Gon, the two of which they ran into Zeno, talked to him for like a second and a half. Not really, but he talked to him for a little bit, and then they went to go meet up with Pitou. Alright, but as far as Meliorone goes, he was originally with Knuckle still. UP was getting angry that he couldn't destroy APR, and Knuckle took advantage of that to draw him away from Shoot. So Meliorone was going to go look for Killua and Gon, but before he did that, he looked at Shoot, saw how Shoot was pretty much collapsed, which is not surprising because he took quite the beating. And he wanted to cheer Shoot on, Ganbate or whatever. And he can't because he can't talk. Because if he talks, he'll breathe, and if he breathes, UP will probably sense him. Though it was kind of interesting that he could cry and make these breathing sounds, but still not actually be breathing. That was interesting. He was making all these breathing sounds like, but he wasn't actually breathing. So how that's possible, I don't know. But whatever. Maybe I'm just nitpicking. But I just thought that was weird. He can make breathing noises without actually breathing. Yeah, he ends up cheering him on inside his own head, and then not actually saying it out loud, and then leaving to go look for Killua and Gon, and then running into Welfin. He got caught off guard. He was not expecting to see Welfin there. Welfin was in like detective mode. He was like he was looking for Bezef. He was just like he had his like sensory mode on, and he completely caught Meliorone by surprise. Meliorone pretty much lost all of his breath right there, so he needed to breathe again. So he hid to do it, and Welfin he tried to make it as quick as possible, which was not really portrayed well in the anime because they had him going like like that. It was like freaking half an hour just for him to take that breath. So it wasn't exactly as quick as I thought it'd be, but whatever. Again, it's just nitpicking. But in that brief amount of time that he was taking that breath, Welfin ended up smelling him and sensing him a little bit. So he ended up using what I like to call Robotnik or Bullet Bill, his ability, which is Eggman or Missile Man, whichever one, doesn't really matter. And he shoots these missiles at Meliorone, but Meliorone had moved by then, so he wasn't hit by them. The way his ability works is actually kind of interesting. It's almost like Danganronpa with their verbal bullets. He uses his questions as missiles, as ammo. And if the person who his target is, they don't answer the question, or if they answer incorrectly, then they get fired at, and those missiles will follow you forever. Right? And if they hit you, which they probably will, unless you pull some cliche, like turn really quickly and the missiles can't keep up and end up hitting something else instead, move, then they will kill you in one hit. Alright, so it's a pretty cool ability, and he doesn't need to be conscious of his targets in order to hit them. He doesn't have to see them, smell them, hear them, whatever. He just has to think that they're somewhere, and that's just the area that the the missiles would go to. So that's cool. He does it, but Meliron had moved, so they just disappeared. He went over, smelled the area to make sure he wasn't just like freaking out, like he wasn't crazy or anything, and he ends up smelling odorless deodorant. That was that's interesting. His nose is so good that he can smell things that don't have a smell. That's well, maybe it's not deodorant itself he smelled, but he smelled something that had its scent partially masked by something that he assumed to be odorless deodorant. I don't know, who knows, but maybe it was just phrased. Maybe it just wasn't phrased well on Crunchyroll. Who knows? But yeah, he realizes that there was in fact someone there, and that person had to have known about his ability and his good nose and everything like that to have moved from the spot and to be wearing odorless deodorant. So he assumes correctly that it's a chimera ant, therefore another traitor. And he ends up wondering, we have all these traitors. Is it really good for me to stay on this side, stay on the side of the king and all the other chimera ants? Uh, maybe I should change sides too. Right, so he starts wondering about what he should do and whether he should abandon his plan with Bezef to become the king behind the scenes. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the episode. We see Gon and Killua meet up with Pitou at the end, and Gon, he has this face that I made the thumbnail. It's a pretty epic face. He wants to just destroy Pitou, right? But at this point, I'm not even sure if I care anymore, because I mean, I do a little bit, but not nearly as much as I did before, because it's been so long, you know? It's been so long since Kite got killed by Pitou. It's been so long since Knuckles, Shoot, Nova, and Morel brought Kite back. It's been so long since since Morel tested Gon and Gon almost killed him with with Jajonkin. It's been so long that the amount I care has just dropped so much because it's just been so long, which, it's just a flaw. That's just a flaw on Togashi's part, because you can't do things like that. Have people look forward to something and then not have it happen for like forever. And then it's just natural to stop caring if you takes forever to get it. But whatever. I'm still looking forward to it a little bit. But yeah, that's really it for the episode. Next episode, it looks from the preview, it looks like something's gonna happen with that fight. It looks like it. But this is Hunter x Hunter, so we don't know. He could switch over to something else and have Gon and Killua in like 2 seconds of the episode. We don't know. But yeah, that's it for this episode. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, because that scene with Welfin and Meliron was really dragged out. But yeah, I'll just give it a 7 out of 10. It was mostly just an episode to build up a few different things, but nothing actually happened. So yeah, that's really it, you guys. This episode gets a 7 out of 10. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.